Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream that never fails.
Hi, everybody. Happy 4th of July.
So,
What?
I was covering myself in my own logo. So, we've made it to the part of the stream where we explain what happened last time. I think I just figured it out. This new laptop only has USB-C because Apple likes to make it as thin as possible, and sometimes it used to be. Oh, that looks pretty hot. Used to be that they would have the perfect balance between function and design, and now it's leaning towards design. So because it only has USB-C and this camera connects with USB-A, I had to go through a dock, a hub, and apparently the hub was the problem because earlier when I was testing, of course, the camera worked fine up until right before we went live, and then it went back to freeze land. So
Hooray, technology!
So that's what happened last time, I guess. Is up until we went live, like literally, the moment before I pressed live, it was fine. There was no problems with the video. It was not frozen or anything like that. So that's why I didn't realize that we were frozen until. Anyway, it's should be fixed now.
We think.
Because I'm using my other dock, which is not portable, but I think the cable on this portable dock is bad because it disconnects very easily normally. But so, happy 4th of July, happy Thursday if you're not in the United States, happy Friday if you're already in tomorrow, or happy whatever day you happen to be watching this. So
happy 2021.
Happy watching our video, I guess. This is my last live stream before I go to California. And if any of you are watching the news today, they just were hit with a 6.4 magnitude earthquake.
Yeah.
Where I'm about to go to.
Yeah.
So
Pretty
welcome to California. Hopefully everybody is safe over there. It actually was quite a bit distance between the earthquake and Anaheim, but still. And then there's also a hurricane out there in that general direction. It's in the Pacific, but it's going towards Hawaii. So sorry for those who are in his path, but thankfully it's not as many people as if it turned around and hit the west coast of the United States. And it's already the second named storm of the season. So hopefully, I also still don't know why the chat was not working last time. Maybe I have to hit go live here. Nope, it doesn't let me. So.
The chat's apparently working for me. I made a comment and I see it, so.
Well, that's what happened last time, and I saw your comment, and I didn't see anybody else's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys are, I'm using the beta again. I completely forgot because of all the other issues. I think the beta was a problem.
Oh.
But I'm already here, so. The YouTube beta is awful. I hate it. It's just... And now here we go again with a stream of me just looking confused at my computer. So, let's move on to... I think Brian already knows this, but... Let's move on to the tool update.
Tool!
And there's nothing to say, right, Brian?
Well, is there, Dave? Is there something to say?
I think you know, isn't it, don't you?
I know something? Why would I know something and you don't know something?
Because you like Tool?
So there is an update.
Yes.
There's actual release date now. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to not get pushed back. Because We've all been through the highly anticipated release, and then, like, oh, there's a release date. Yeah, just kidding. 2 months from now. 6 months from now. Another 8 months from now. But what is the newest date?
That there's a release date, then it's August 30th.
August 30th, Dave.
And, even if that happens, up until now, it's been like, yeah, we'll probably have an album, I guess.
But now there's an actual release date, and it's
Oh, wow.
like 2 months away.
So,
Cool. All right.
yeah.
What is the album's title, Dave?
Dave and Brian sing.
Except instead of us, it's a professional singer. Instead of a professional singer, it's Dave.
Oh, okay. Wait, you're still saying I'm not a professional singer.
Well, you are.
It's a different professional singer.
Yeah. But cool. That's really exciting news.
Yeah.
That there's an actual release date after, what was it? What has it been now?
10 million days.
Yeah, 10 million days since the last album. Which means, I did hear that Tool has been doing some performance dates here and there.
Well, they have been for a long time.
Yeah.
They were here in Florida for Welcome to Rockville, I think.
Okay.
But that's it. They're in other states.
Now, if the past decade has been any indication, every single time they come around.
Oh, hey, Phenomenal! I see you on Brian's screen, not on my screen.
Hey, Phenomenal! I actually see you this time. Hello.
Well, I guess it's 1 out of 2. So I also just recently went to the Endless Summer Resort at Universal Orlando Resort, and was able to shoot a bunch of video with the same camera we're streaming with, and actually was able to, because of Margaritaville, I went there a few times, and they still haven't put me on the media list, but I talked to somebody every time I went, and it must have been somebody else, because there's 2 women who met with me and said, "Oh, do you want to take a tour now?" I'm like, "Okay." Luckily, I brought my camera gear, and they went to a standard room, which is actually extremely nice. I don't know what the prices are.
Wait, which one are you?
At the standard room.
No, but which hotel are you talking about right now?
I just said Margaritaville.
Okay.
You heard that, right?
Yeah, but I'm just making sure that that's what you're talking about. So go ahead.
Yeah, I said I went to Margaritaville.
All right.
I went to talk to some people, and they let me into a standard room.
Okay. No, go on.
And they also were going to show me the Jimmy Buffett suite, but for some reason their card didn't work. But I got to see the presidential suite instead, which was really, really nice.
Cool.
You can see that on my Orlando channel, and the Endless Summer Resort is very, very similar in theming. They have the beds laid out in the same way, like this sort of whitewashed, or the wood behind is a headboard, and this almost exact identical pillow with the same print on it and everything. It's like, oh, I feel like I was just here. But because I was able to get into the rooms at Margaritaville by just kind of showing up, and even though I'm not on the media list for Universal, I asked the front desk, and they talked to somebody who is the manager, and they said, well, you have to speak to, and then they gave somebody's name, and like, okay, how do I have a business card for them or not? And they said, oh, I don't have a business card, but I could do something else. And they went back to the office behind the front desk, and it's like, okay, they're probably just going to take a business card, like, the old scribble off this, scribble off that, write in the name, write in the phone number, or email address or something. And a moment later, another woman came out and introduced herself and asked what I was looking for, and I said that I'm here to shoot an update of the hotel for my YouTube channel, and I wanted to see if I could possibly get into a room and show that. Because with the Aventura update, it was a little bit different because I was staying in the hotel that night. So I had a room key, and I just went in, and I wasn't part of the media preview for that. I don't know if they did have a media preview for the end of summer, because I did see Tim there, and he said that he went on a tour of the standard room and the suite, which is what I ended up doing as well, and he included it in his video from visiting it uh, the same day it opened. So, yeah, with Aventura, he had been there for a media preview, and then went again on opening day. Opening day did come earlier. It was originally going to be around July, so I'm not sure. But I asked her, and she said that she would let me into the room, and I regretted not recording when they gave me a tour of Margaritaville. I ended up getting the. Here's a.
Yeah. When you're ready, I'm gonna.
Okay.
Go.
I got a tour, and I ended up, like, every time she said something like, "This is our ballroom. This is our suite. You could see the fireworks from Disney." All these things.
Cool.
All these things that she told me, I was like, oh, I wish she would just be on camera and say it. And the same thing happened with me over down in Legoland, where our friend Sean, who helps me out a lot with access, he gave me access to the rooms over in Legoland. I'm still working on that video because of the reason I'm about to say. He also set me up with an interview for one of the other employees at Legoland, who is pretty clear must be media trained, because he was really good on camera. I didn't have to feed him a lot of questions or like, hey, can you repeat this in the answer? He just did it the way I was hoping he would. But I didn't get Sean on camera, and I kind of got the vibe that, like, he didn't want to be on camera, because he was like telling me information, and I ended up just repeating it, which I don't like doing, because it's secondhand knowledge then, and I might forget a thing, or he might know how to pronounce something, I might mispronounce it or something like that. So when I was in the room, bringing back to this last week or the week, I already forgot, in the summer, and she's like, oh, well, here's this and this and this about this room, and I was like, okay, here's that same situation again, where I don't really want to repeat what she's telling me, and I believe I think she said she was with PR anyway. So I said, hey, do you mind please being on camera and just telling my viewers directly, so there is no lost in translation there. It's just, I just walked in the hotel. Obviously, she knows the hotel better.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather just hear it from the source. And she seemed a little hesitant, but I wasn't sure if she was like shy, or she's like, well, are you sure that matches your style? And really, a lot of times I'm on camera just from a lack of anyone else that I can put on camera. I'd rather have somebody else on camera, especially if they're an expert in whatever they're talking about. In this case, she was the expert because she was trained for the hotel. So she ended up being on camera, not only just letting me in the room, but also talking directly to the camera about the different features. Like, there's in the suites, there's a picnic table because it's beach themed, and there's a little kitchenette and stuff like that. And so I think it came out a lot better. I'm using a new light, which would help. It helped light up everything as well. And then I was a little skimpy on the B-roll, or the extra video to show close-ups of things. And that goes back again to whenever I'm doing something like that, I am always thinking, like, I have about 1,700 subscribers on my Orlandave channel, and there are countless channels that have way more, and my reach is kind of small. I can't quite get to you. So not only do I just want to respect someone's time just in general, they're taking the time in their schedule to allow me to shoot a video that fewer people are going to see. So I try to kind of move along quickly. And I didn't shoot, I wish I shot just a little bit more video to have some cutaways. and for a lot of reasons. One of them is that we all go when we're talking on camera, and I like to cut that part out, but I can't do that unless I have something to cover it with. And going back to Legoland briefly, then I'll get to your comments here. I didn't ask Sean to be on camera because I thought he didn't want to be, and I emailed him and said, "Oh yeah, well, just let me know whenever you want me to be on camera," and he will. So apparently, I'm not picking up my vibes correctly. So I'm rescheduling next week to go back to Legoland and to record him. And also, the other thing is they have a new mini golf course that's set up. I think I mentioned this before on the show, for people who are staying at their hotels exclusively for them. There's in the back of the Legoland Hotel and the future Pirate themed hotel. I forget the exact name right now, and also the beach retreat. So after the park closes, especially when it closes at 5, if you want to play mini golf, you have access to that. So it's not a complete loss because I couldn't shoot that because it was there, but it wasn't ready, so he didn't want me to get that on camera yet. So I guess a long journey. But so after all this, going back to Endless Summer, after having some food, talking to several people, letting them know that I wasn't able to afford to stay on site because of my California trip this year. I had one more shot to take, one more clip of the outro, and security came up and he heard me earlier because I tried to get in earlier than 10 o'clock because every time we go to a grand opening, it's like, oh yeah, we opened a while ago. So I tried to get there extra early, and they asked if I was staying on site. I said, no, I'm not staying on site today. And then the same security officer must have heard me earlier, and he was standing on his bike, and I was like standing at the edge of the road, and he was standing there watching me. And I thought he was going to ride his bike in front of me, so I was standing there watching him, waiting for him to move, to go past. So I was like, I'm not going to record until he goes past because he might be in the shot. And then he's like, well, I guess he's just going to stand there and watch everything. Okay. So I raised my camera, and he came over and said, sir, you can't take pictures of the building. I'm like, what do you mean I can't take pictures of it's a building? Why can't I take a picture of a building? Because I use a camera that's an SLR, a photographic camera, not a video camera. People always assume I'm taking pictures, and it's video. And he said,
it does look like a strictly picture camera.
So he said, I overheard you earlier saying that you're staying on site. And then he told me that I have to get in my car and leave immediately. And I tried to talk to him and say, but I'm here to shoot video, and he was not paying attention to anything else. I wasn't staying on site, and I had to leave. So I got kicked off property at the last, after all that cooperation from the staff inside. Yeah. And he didn't care that I was there for media. I'm like, I'm giving the hotel free publicity. He just was like, oh, you're not staying on site, go.
Well, it was like I was telling you earlier. It's like he doesn't know what you're actually doing. You can say, oh, I'm just shooting video for my YouTube channel, but he doesn't know. You could be shooting video for some rival company or something. I am sorry that happened.
But the thing is, if I was in a rival company, I would have booked a room. And would have gone through the whole experience if I was trying to steal some proprietary stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, that doesn't really make sense either.
Yeah.
But he was just very, very rude. And then I saw him on the way out, and it was like I'm glad that the people inside were very nice to me, at least. Yeah. And he said, well, actually, I was very nice to you, and I shouldn't have been. And just no need for the attitude. So we've got some comments in the parking lot over here.
All right. First off, Glenn Boyd says, good morning from a cold and wet Friday morning here in Sydney, Australia. Hi, Glenn.
Oh, hello.
Glenn also says they will be there for 2 weeks in September. My first holiday there was in 1992,
Ooh.
and have been returning ever since.
Nice.
So, welcome back in. I think you were asking us. I think last year was it Glenn? Were you the one asking us about frequent fear passes? I think somebody was. And maybe it wasn't Glenn. Maybe I'm just remembering wrong.
Oh, also, if you were to look outside, it's thunderstorms outside. So
Yeah.
So we're we're in the same situation here.
So first off, Ronald Brandon says, "Have you tracked the progress of that site since Wet and Wild was still standing?" And she says, "I hate security guys giving you such a hard time."
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandy. And
And
yeah,
I was kind of be like, well, I am here as a member of media,
Yeah.
but like he didn't seem. You think that they would like let him know, hey, today's the grand opening day. There probably will be people shooting video. Don't automatically assume to kick them out.
yeah,
Like call this contact or something.
or maybe it was a
but
miscommunication.
But it just doesn't seem like he wanted to listen to logic or reason or anything else. He just is like go.
Yeah,
And of all the times we've been back to Aventura after this time we stayed and never had a problem.
yeah. And so Phenomenal Brandy has a question. She says, "Are you going to be able to check out the water park there with the weird social media themes?"
I'm assuming you mean Margaritaville.
Yeah, I think-
I asked when I went for the Margaritaville tour. I actually said, "Hey, I'm still trying to be on the media list," and another manager said, "Oh, we've been having some problems with media kind of falling through the cracks, so we're trying to catch up and fix that." And I was saying, like, I'd like to be on the media list before the water park opens, and then somebody left a comment saying, "Are you going to the water park?" I'm like, "Oh, I thought it hadn't opened yet, so I have to go back." And I sent 2 emails to the person who I spoke to who gave me the tour, and still nothing. So I don't know if it's me as far as my channel size, or if they need to get their stuff together, or what.
Well, they also get a lot of emails. Like, just talking with my management, like my assistant manager says, when he gets 2 days off, he comes back, he's got 250 emails. So it might have just gotten buried. So like what you do is you just try again.
Yeah.
Just email again and see what happens. Because management in any department is going to get a lot of emails like every week. And some of them they have to read all the way through. Some of them they're like, well, maybe I'll come back to this, and it just gets buried. So just try again.
I don't know. It's just I wanted to go to their grand opening, and it's kind of a drive to go out there.
Yeah.
Where some other companies are a little more responsive.
Well,
So anything else to catch up on here?
That's pretty much it. Phenomenal Brandy asked Glenn if he's coming to HHN. That's the comment so far.
Next time we go live, I have to make sure I'm not on this beta software, because I thought I'd try it, but it's not working. I'm not seeing the chat. All I'm seeing is stream preview. I don't know, but I'm afraid to reload it.
Yeah. Everything will go wrong. Possibly, yeah, who knows?
So, also, another reason why it was a problem last time, I believe, was that I still prefer using a hardwired internet connection, and because it's a brand new laptop, I was using Wi-Fi, because I didn't have a way to connect to Ethernet, because I didn't want to bring out this giant dock, because it has a power supply and all that stuff. And so I bought maybe I'll return it. I bought a converter, because, again, USB-C, for Ethernet, because this doesn't have an Ethernet port in it. And so we are not on Wi-Fi right now, so the stream should be pretty solid. Even if only one of us can see your comments.
Yeah. Well, that's why you had me bring out the laptop, is just in case you can't see comments, I can.
Yep. And also gives a little more watch time. So again, next week I'll be in Southern California right now, and some goodish news that the apparently Galaxy's Edge isn't as popular as Disney was hoping it would be somehow, and
That sounds strange, but okay.
and they have lifted some of the restrictions on cast member access. They actually were blocked out for until somewhere in August, I believe, and recently they have opened it up until July 13th as of now.
Oh.
Cast members and they can bring a friend if they pay for a admission. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I have a complimentary pass to Disneyland that will be good for till I think the end of the year, that I'm going to be using next week, but it had been blocked out for Disneyland itself and only for California Adventure, which is a bummer because I wanted to go and see the original Haunted Mansion with the actual elevator as opposed to one in Florida, which has a ceiling that rises up to look like the elevator, but it's not an actual elevator. That, and I wanted to see. I doubt it, but I have a picture from me from 1980 that is in a photo op spot, which most likely isn't there anymore. But I kind of wanted to see if it was. There's one other thing I wanted to see. It was over there, but the good part is that Radiator Springs is in California Adventure, and whether or not they lift the blockout dates for comp passes, I will be able to go to that, which I've heard is pretty cool. I've heard it's a lot like Test Track.
Oh, cool.
So I will be doing that. So hopefully I'll be able to post some updates from Disneyland, the park, and not just Disneyland Resort. And I have to remember to get I'm celebrating first visit since 1980
Yeah.
pin or button.
That's what I did when we went back to Disney World 2 years ago.
I think so.
And I hadn't been there in 20 years, so I put celebrating 20-year return on it.
Yeah. But this time I've doubled it, Brian.
That's right. By the way, Phenomenal Brandon says everything looking and sounding good over here this time.
Okay, cool. Thanks. It was a little bit hot a little bit ago, so I turned it down.
Yeah.
It was just kind of spiking. I actually disconnected some of the audio interface for something else I was doing, but yeah, we're getting back to where we were. It's still pretty amazing to me that coming from a video production background and had been previously that if you wanted to do green screen or chroma key, you had to have perfect lighting behind you. The green had to be like a specific green. It couldn't, if it was a sheet, it couldn't have wrinkles. And like looking at this, the lighting in the background is kind of spotty. It's full of wrinkles. It's not the right color. There's pieces of tape there on the background but you look at the image and it's
smooth.
It's clean. I also get rid of the issue over here. It was reflection. That's why I was a little worried about going with a glossy black desk because I knew it was going to reflect things. But I actually brought out another light to shine. Red and amber is the opposite of green on the color wheel.
Mm-hmm.
If you shine something opposite of green, it'll cancel it out. But as you can see, when I set up today, no problem.
Yeah.
I can.
By the way, Brandy says Cars Land is
silly.
amazing, and Radiator Springs Racers is an A+ for sure. Oh yeah.
Looks like Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I got them mixed up. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it. I also was reading it was over. It was not overhyped. It was I don't know. I'm going to go on it and see what I think, and I'll let you know. I am Actually, as soon as we are finished with the stream, I'm going to be bringing a folding table in and up on the stage here and starting to stage my equipment, charging batteries and stuff, and getting last minute things together. And what I'm planning to do is, first day when I arrive, I will be leaving here at 7:30 a.m. That's my flight departure time. I'm going to be flying out there and getting the hotel, set everything up, and I'm planning to go right to Disneyland from there. So it's going to be a long day. But what I plan to do is I bought a whole bunch of equipment since last year, new lights, tripods, and things like that. I'm going to set up a little thing in the hotel room, and I'd like to. My goal is to have like a nightly update of things that happened that day.
Okay.
It's separate video from. Separate video from what I'm shooting in the daytime. So. I wanted to do a Kickstarter or Indiegogo fundraising thing, but the problem is that I didn't really know what to offer as a benefit. I'm not going to just be like, hey, send me money because I want to do. That's why. That's your benefit, because you'll realize that I appreciate your money.
Well, you do. You do. I know that you do. But yeah, it's.
But that'll work for a little bit. But those kind of campaigns it's you get like an early access or like director's cut or something like that.
I mean, what you could do is you could maybe make it private and I don't know, do something on your Twitter to like give the link or something like that, so like people who are subscribed will know where to go.
But the other thing is, it's like a time-sensitive thing. There'll be a lot of people posting from VidCon, and what I definitely don't want to do is delay the release. So I decided that I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
Now, what I'd like to do next year is, if it's worthwhile to go to VidCon, I might go back next year. If I do, I might stay an extra day because I definitely want to go out to Universal Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is I want to go to NAB, which is National Association of Broadcasters, which used to be just broadcasters, television stations, high-end productions and stuff like that, but it's now become any video content. It's still like high-end video switchers and like $20,000+ cameras and things like that, but it's now things like Aperture and Blackmagic Design and stuff like that, where like it's now to the level where like, oh, I can actually go there and look at stuff that I use or I want to use. But it is in Las Vegas, so that's another flight and hotel and stuff like that. So if I go to VidCon and NAB next year, I'm going to have to come up with a way to try to do fundraising. The other problem is I didn't want to do something for the Indiegogo campaign that would kind of be disrespectful to my Patreons. So what I was thinking about doing, and maybe I should have, I just didn't, was maybe do an early access video for at least some of the videos, like the daily update or something like that, where I would post it a day early, and have the access be to those who supported my Indiegogo campaign, and automatically give it to everybody who already support me on Patreon, without having to also contribute to Indiegogo, because Patreon is basically an Indiegogo that's just on going. So maybe I'll look at that. I don't know. It kind of made me uncomfortable thinking about it, if that makes sense. And I just put it off until it was like, oh my gosh, it's already late June.
Yeah.
And it's now too late.
By the way, Finale Brainy asks, will you be able to go live any while you're in California?
I can try. I'm not gonna promise because we tried to do that. It's not the same thing because that was a brand new hotel. We tried to do that in Aventura on opening day, and it took a few hours, and we ended up not being able to.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I even brought my 27-inch iMac to the room. It wasn't that hard because we drove instead of flown. I now have this really nice laptop, and so I'll have this, and I can try. The problem is I don't know what the setup is. If it's just Wi-Fi only, if I have to pay extra for high-speed internet. The best I can say is I'll try, and it just might not work out because streaming is still kind of a hefty thing to do, especially high quality. But I'll have my lights, I'll have my camera, I'll have my tripod, and microphones and everything I can think of to pack in there. I might end up having to bring a second suitcase.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll try.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that
Yeah, that's pretty much it in comments right now.
okay? So let's get to some park news updates. I guess I kind of already mentioned Disney a little bit, but we'll start with Halloween Horror Nights. Let's have some Halloween Horror Nights updates. And I don't remember how much we've talked about the houses up until now.
Pretty much not. Like we mentioned our additions, and
Okay.
we've mentioned like some of the houses that were announced, but like
Didn't really discuss them much.
no, I don't think we
Okay.
did.
It's kind of weird for us
Yeah.
that we haven't. So I wrote them down, and we'll discuss them now. Okay. Classic monsters. I don't remember the monsters being the way they are now. Like not Dracula, but Frankenstein's monster
Uh-huh.
looks a lot more decayed, and like there's like a lot more detail. I guess they kind of did that like they did for Optimus Prime, or like they've reimagined it to like being more detailed. But they also have blood over their hands, like they're ripping apart people. My impression of the classic monsters is that they were scary just because they were scary.
Oh, like,
They didn't really kill people.
well, it depends. It depends
I mean,
on
Dracula might have because he's a vampire.
And I think the Wolfman got a good kill count, but like I don't remember, so like nobody at me for that one. Yeah. Well, it's also concept art, so like it might not end up being that way in the actual house. Now in 25, I think it was it Jack Presents 25 Years of Monsters and Mayhem. There
Yeah.
was the section of classic monsters. The Frankenstein's monster looked like the classic Frankenstein's monster, and
Yeah.
Wolfman looked like Wolfman, and so we'll see. But yeah, like maybe they're kind of like updating it for modern horror, where now they've got all these saws and hostels and
Saws and Steam.
yeah, saws and steam, and things are a lot more bloody and gory. Like like there's elevators just gushing gallons of blood at you, and
Yeah.
so like maybe they're updating it a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. I am looking forward to the Classic Monsters house because that's old school OG horror.
Yeah.
Like dating way
Universal too.
Yeah. It pretty much made Universal movies, and
Well, they kept Universal going.
Yeah.
Back in the early days.
and people liked going to those old school movies like way back when. It was also different back then. It was I don't think there was a movie coming out every week like the way
I
there's
doubt
now.
it. Sometimes there's multiple movies coming out.
Yeah.
That's a very modern thing.
Like Gone with the Wind apparently stayed in the movie theaters for a year and a half. But that's also because like back then there wasn't a movie coming out every single week. It was like
I don't remember that even when we were young having it be that often. But maybe it was.
in the 90s. I think there was at least one movie coming out every week, but they didn't do, or at least I don't remember them doing the Thursday midnight showings.
No. It seemed like back in the day, like in the 80s, that movies stayed in theaters a lot longer.
Yeah,
And I think that was because there weren't as many movies coming in to bump them out.
yeah,
But I think that Mallrats, they might not be the exclusive holder of the record, but I don't think a movie stayed in the theater less than that, unfortunately.
yeah.
But the thing about the classic monsters that surprised me is next year is the 30th anniversary of Universal Orlando and 30th anniversary of Halloween Horror Nights, and I thought they would have saved their own classic monsters for the 30th anniversary.
Well, I know, just from being Horror Night veterans, I know that they're going to do a retrospective house for 30, which will,
Right, but there's 10 houses.
yeah, and it might include a section of classic monsters that we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm kind of remembering, like, for Horror Nights 24, they had Giggles and Gore.
Yeah.
And then we were like, well, we didn't see Jack. And then Jack was the icon the next year for 25, and he had his own house.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the warm-up for Jack, was Giggles and Gore. And maybe this is like, okay, give them their own house this year, and then we'll give them a little section. And maybe there's going to be a classic monster going to be the icon for 30. Who knows?
I would like to see them go back to having icons, and I like to see them go back to putting numbers, because they stopped doing that altogether since 26 had it, but then that was about it.
Well, no, sometimes they kind of do both. Like you'll see like in the park, it'll say hashtag HHN28.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
it used to be on the logo. It used to be everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know why they stopped doing that, but that is what we know about the Classic Monsters house right now. The tagline is "They're coming together to tear you apart."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think it might be a little bit of blame on the victims. I mean, the guests who come for Halloween Horror Nights, because they're constantly whining and complaining about any house that's not super scary and bloody and gory and body parts and dismemberment and stuff. I say if it's a well-designed house, well-themed, it's enjoyable, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
There is a rumored house that I can't say, but it's ties in with an '80s theme. That's all I can. That's all I can say. And it's another house where, like, I don't know how they make it bloody and scary, but
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I will say, I watched a classic Horror Nights review video from years back when Leave It to Cleaver was that year. That has since become one of the classic Horror Night houses. Was Leave It to Cleaver with that's with Samuel Meats, with the whole Meats
with
thing.
Michael
Aiel, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. In the video.
Yeah. And the mascot with that mask and the chainsaw, that has since become like classic Horror Nights. And I remember like
And we're getting to that house.
we're getting there, Brandy. These guests reviewed the house. Oh, we're going in to Leave It to Cleaver now. And it cuts to them sitting down and doing the review. It's like, what do you think? I don't know. I didn't really like it. I actually felt like more sick and disgusted than anything else. And like, yeah, I agree. It was a lot of meat, entrails, and like intestines all over the walls, and I just felt ill. And so I'm thinking to myself, then it was an effective house.
And they've done that since then too.
Yeah.
There was a scene in Ash vs. Evil Dead in a morgue that had guts and entrails and stuff all over the place, and somebody putting their head through someone's carcass.
But it doesn't always have to be gore.
Yeah.
Like there's
sometimes you can have a little Clinton in there.
Yeah. There's different things to fear, and there's different things that get to everybody. Just having
like clowns.
Yeah.
There are
like
some people I know who like will not go if there's clowns in the house. They won't go.
Yeah. I remember when I started, and I was a house attendant in Ghost Town. One time I was in position at the first scare. Actually, I wasn't even at the first scare, and this lady comes in. She sees the first scare happening in the sheriff's office, and she goes, nope. And I'm like, do you need an exit? Yes. And so, like, we're at the beginning of the house.
Tank, I need an exit.
Yeah. So we're at the beginning of the house, and I'm like, all right, just come with me. And we kind of fight through guest flow. And I get her back outside. I'm like, you sure you want to leave? And she's like, yeah, I can't do this house. And I'm like, okay, there you go. And it depends on what gets to people. You know, you never know. Yeah. I like that. I'm very sure if Horror Nights 1 year just did like everything just like slasher villain style, with there's like blood and like machetes and all that.
It's
And
kind of what they do every year, but
well, everyone would be like, no, it's too much of the same.
Yeah.
All right, well, every other year we tried other things, and you're like, ooh, I want this.
Yeah.
Ooh.
so I think that's the reason. That could be the main driving force, unfortunately, behind the monsters being redesigned to be all bloody and gory, and they're gonna rip you in pieces and stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of blood and gore and guts and oozy and stuff, a return of another classic, which is Nightingale's Blood Pit.
Yeah.
It's right in there in the name.
So-
Giant swimming pool of blood. Actually, I'll be right back. Hopefully, this won't pop your ears when I unplug myself. Go ahead.
RIP headphone users. So back in Horror Nights 21, and I believe this was the first house. It was Nightingale's. It was Nightingale's, and it was a World War I theme, I think, where you would see you go through the trenches and you'd see like dead soldiers or soldiers like killing themselves, and the Nightingales feeding on them. Nightingales is a term for the nurses that worked in the hospitals during World War I believe too.
Here I go. Plug it in.
RIP headphone users. And so now the Nightingales are back, this time in a Roman Colosseum theming of gladiator pits back in Rome. So I'm looking forward to that house. I'm looking forward to everything so far, but like Nightingales is classic, going back to 2011.
Yeah. So I guess they're saying that like they've been around for centuries. And,
Yeah.
And we're just seeing little snapshots of where they fit in and
Yeah.
how they disguise themselves. So.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's going to be cool. If it's anything like the original Nightingale's house.
Yeah. And then they were also in Jack Presents 25 Years of Monsters.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, there was the Nightingale's room. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And now the next one is.
It's a Yeti, Dave. A Yeti. Look at this. Raw.
Let's see, nothing here.
That's what you get for messing with a Yeti, Dave. It's a phenomenal Brandon led the comment. Definitely want to hear Brian's thoughts on the Yeti house. Because I was in Slaughter Cinema,
Yeah.
and I was only a few rooms away from the Yetis. The Yetis were definitely the highlight of Slaughter Cinema. Like, I will just say it. That was definitely the right choice to put the anchor as the Yetis. The guy in my cast who was the final Yeti, he's a veteran scare actor. He's been doing it years, so he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Putting him as the final scare was probably show directions call because they knew him.
Yeah.
He sent people running. He had a dude run out of his shoes. People I heard people were running into the fence, just to run. I heard a story that a scare actor, on a night off, comped his friend in and was like, hey, let's go see Slaughter Cinema. Okay, yeah, let's go see Slaughter Cinema. So he knew that final Yeti was there, like behind you. It was like, hey, why don't we turn around and see this? And like almost on cue, here comes that final Yeti doing this with the arm and just like bolting it. Dude apparently fell on his butt, rolled backwards down that ramp, got up and just took off. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to. It's what is it called? It's Yeti something Yukon.
Terror on the Yukon.
Terror on the Yukon. Yes, thank you.
So are you saying that one of the houses that was a rejected Horror Nights idea that became part of Slaughter Cinema that came all the way back around to, hey, let's actually do that?
apparently, like I don't know, like Slaughter Cinema was one of the more popular houses last year, which thank you guys.
Yeah.
Um,
What we understand is that those are all pitched ideas that were never fully fleshed out for any reason.
yeah,
So maybe they. It also could have been like a test run. Like, here, let's throw a whole bunch of ideas into a house, see how those do, and then maybe break them out later as their own houses. So
now
maybe Barber Chop.
maybe, who knows, could be. Now I'm not any part of show direction, and I'm not any part of the HHN creative team, so I don't know like what was behind the decision to have a full-on Yeti house.
It might just be a coincidence.
But
But every year they do have one house in the sound stage where they turn the air conditioning temperature way down.
yeah, and it's probably going to be that.
Oh,
Like
it is.
yeah.
It's going to be obviously going to be cold if it's in the Yukon.
So it does make sense that Slaughter Cinema being a more popular house and probably Attack of the Swamp Yeti being one of the highlights of Slaughter Cinema
Yeah.
is behind it. So a different theme, like instead of like Forest Yetis, it's going to be Mountain Yetis, but
Yeah.
like same thing. Like I would not be surprised if it's the same costume and mask, just like done up white this time.
And last year, Slaughter Cinema was really campy and kind of their silly house.
Yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
I'm thinking that this is going to be like a more serious take on Yetis.
Yeah. I don't know what the Dark Comedy House is going to be this year, but yeah. So we'll see.
The funny thing is, up until just a little bit ago, we have two girls sitting behind us, but Stella is sitting behind Brian, and Brian's dog was sitting behind me, or laying behind me. They were both up here before because of the thunderbolts of lightning, which are very, very soothing. I think that's how the song goes.
So Phenomenal Bernie says Yeti is going to be the new HHN bear. Possibly.
Yeti, 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 Yeti. Maybe.
And she also asked, do you think it will go where Poltergeist was? That house was freezing. It could.
Possibly. I mean, obviously, the air conditioning can be turned on in any building, but it could be. I haven't paid attention enough to see if it's always the same building. It like I said, it might not be because it's not like that one building has air conditioning, the rest don't, or something like that.
Well, I do think
It won't be in a tent. Probably.
Body Collectors was also where Poltergeist was, and Body Collectors was the cold house for 25.
Yeah.
So, and maybe they do that on purpose, like the same location is always the cold one.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like the Horror Nights Easter egg. But yeah, probably. And yeah, we're thinking that the Yeti house is going to be the cold house because it's in the Yukon.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that Poltergeist was cold too, because I think no, it didn't necessarily take place in the winter, but
You were in the cold house too with a maze for.
oh, for The Shining, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But that was a different location than most of the cold locations.
Yeah.
Um,
Because you're like, I'm in the cool house. I'm like, you're just saying because you're like, no, I mean like the temperature. I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh." Hanging out with the cool kids.
yeah.
So that is, I think 4 houses, 6 are still to be announced.
Well, my basic overall opinion is I'm definitely looking forward to the Yeti house, and I'm very excited to see what they're going to do. There's a lot to look forward to this year.
Yeah, well, we don't know how much we have to look forward to because they're kind of late in announcing things.
Yeah. But so far, Nightingales, Yeti, Classic Monsters, I'm looking forward to that. Stranger Things will be neat, at least.
Yeah.
And I will say, after waiting in Hagrid's line, the Stranger Things line is going to feel like a breeze.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, as I say, so we have Nightingales, Yeti, Terror in the Cooler, and Bizarre Stuff.
Bizarre Stuff?
Yeah,
Oh, Bizarre Stuff.
that's the name of the show, isn't it? Bizarre Stuff.
Oh, Stranger Things, bizarre stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was called Bizarre Stuff. But we also have something. I swear that they had a house almost exactly like this at least once before. But Depths of Fear. I don't know. Is it if Phenomenal or anybody else in the comments section or you or Stella? It doesn't seem like they've done it. They've done a house concept like that's very, very, very similar to this already.
Not necessarily. This is gonna be like something underwater. The closest I can think to is Titanic, like way back when in classic
Yeah.
Horror Nights.
I guess it reminds me a little bit of what was that sea creature that was in San Francisco?
Oh, are you talking about Dead Man's Wharf?
Yeah, it was kind of it's a bit like that. Looks like it's a bit like that, but underwater.
That was definitely a boating, fisherman theme, but like they were supposed to be on land. It was a lost boat that came back on land to like their original wharf, but they're dead. So they're like, oh, what's going on? Well, there's all these living people. Let's kill them. Okay.
But the thing is, like in 2017, they were really slow in introducing new houses.
Yeah.
And last year they started really early. This year they started early, but then kind of stopped.
Well, yeah, it's getting close.
Yeah.
I mean, early September, so I guess they're going to start pumping it out now.
They kind of have to. And my audition is next week on Tuesday.
Good luck, Dave.
Whatever the 8th is. I think it's.
Do you have plenty of points, Dave?
I have been here with the company for many years. It's my 10th year going to Halloween Horror Nights.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Universal and Halloween Horror Nights.
All right.
I enjoy going to Halloween Horror Nights as much as possible. I mean, that's 4 points right there.
Yeah, look at you. All right. But yeah, so they've done a couple like boating themes, but I don't think they've ever done anything like underwater. So like this is kind of new territory.
Yeah, I have a feeling, just as somebody who's been there 9 different years, that they're going to put it in a soundstage and put mirrors on the floor.
Oh.
And have, although that wouldn't work because you'd be looking down.
But it would
Maybe not.
It would give you the illusion that you're really deep underwater.
Yeah, but that would be. I don't know. Somehow they might use the height, because those sound stages have a really high ceiling and they really don't get to use it very much. So they might do some sort of mirror tricks. But I don't know that. I just know that's just speculation on my part. It's just I feel like they'll somehow maybe they'll make it like so that it is a mirror and you're looking up, or I don't know.
And there was the underwater section in Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
So like definitely a Horror Nights knows how to do underwater.
Yeah. They'll probably have you walk through like a hazed out room with some lighting effects to make it look like the floor is that water effect. The same we saw for the Motel Shelby, where they have they project lights on the floor, and it looks like light filtering through the waves to make you feel like you're underwater. So it's gonna be something cool like that, I'm sure.
And Phenomenal just made a good point. She said there was an underwater portion of last year's Scary Tales for The Little Mermaid, and yes, that's true. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
So that was cool. So yeah, like definitely, if anybody can do this, it's Horror Nights, and they've done it in the past. So like I've got no worries about Depths of Fear.
The thing that's awesome and kind of disappointing about Halloween Horror Nights is the amount of detail they put in their houses, and the thing that's unfortunate about that is you go through it and you don't see most of it.
And there's things that you can only see for Unmasking the Horror.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny. I'm trying to look at the camera as much as possible. I'm seeing my image over here, which is pretty much real time, but then I'll just do something like this,
and then it's over here like a second later.
No, it's it's a lot more than a second. Like right now, I'm watching the monitor, and it's nope. That shows you the delay of the internet here.
Yeah.
I might have the settings wrong or something, but it still hasn't shown it. There it is, and it just showed it now. That's how long the delay is.
Yeah.
But your comments seem to be popping up pretty quickly, so I guess it's all right.
Yeah.
So another Hagrid's update, just to reinforce that it opens midday, which means when it's ready. We really don't know.
We've
if you're going.
we've actually been told try to avoid saying midday because that implies 12 o'clock, and so everyone's like, all right, well at 12 o'clock I'll head over there.
Yeah, which it could be.
It
But
could
it also
be.
could be 3 o'clock. Could be 4 o'clock.
Yeah, like I have heard over radio that it was like 2:30 in the afternoon and they were still not open, and so if you are coming and you're dead set on going to Hagrid's, just be ready to not go on it immediately. They've been delaying opening for several hours every day, just to make sure things are good and correct.
Yeah.
So I guess at this point, don't show up early at the gates, thinking that you're doing something smart, because like you may just end up waiting around all day for nothing. Yeah, come on into the park, but just have the Universal app ready, and Hagrid's always has like it'll say like down or extended delay or something, and then like it'll
say delayed.
Yeah. So keep checking the app, or like maybe if you're in town and you're like, well, I want to go see Hagrid's and nothing else, then I don't know, like stick around the hotel and just like keep checking the app. And
although I mean, you shouldn't if you're here already, like do other things.
yeah,
Not just,
sure.
Like, oh well, it's not open. I guess I just won't go into the park. I'll just sit at the pool. But right now, there's supposed to be a notification system that will notify you when the ride is operational. From what I understand, it isn't working for everybody, so don't try to rely on that either. But just want to let you know, just so you can set your proper expectations, that it's because it's a new ride and the company is kind of pushing boundaries and trying new things. The side effect is it takes a while to work out the details of new things. And also, for the time being, I don't know when this is going to change. Maybe when the ride opens with the park, when it's been around for a little while. Right now, every other attraction at Universal, and I think it's pretty much like this other places, if you are in line, and this works for Halloween Horror Nights as well, if you are in line at park close, unless there's an issue with the attraction and it has an extended delay and they get to the point where they dump out the line, basically most attractions, if you're already in the queue, you will still get to ride it. If the park closes at 10 o'clock and you get to the line at 9:59 and you're in the line, you're in the queue, you will ride. For now, that is not the case with Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. There's a time where when they calculate that the queue time, how the wait that the person at the very back of the line will have to wait to get to load will equal the amount of time before the park is closed, and they will close the queue. So when it's a 3-hour wait and there's 3 hours before the park closes, that rule I just mentioned does not apply, and you will not be able to get in line. Also, there is no express, and unfortunately, there's no virtual queue yet, which seems kind of crazy to me, because you would think that of all things, a ride that's brand new and popular, you would want to give people a virtual line tickets so they don't have to wait in the actual line. That's the point of the virtual line, but for whatever reason, it's not running yet, and so no express. And Tim just went recently and said that he doesn't believe that the single rider line is worth it. You will have to wait in the line with everybody else before you get to a certain point before they split you off, and apparently the single rider line is not even available all the time. So
And you also miss things in the single rider line, like which some people don't mind doing, but opening day you could, but like all the team members were recommending like, well, you're gonna miss a lot of things, and some guests were like, well, that's okay, I'll maybe see it another time, and some guests were like, I want to see it, so.
And Tim pointed out that the other problem is that the rows are you're in twos on that roller coaster. So someone has to, if a party has three, then you can possibly be the fourth one. But when they're filling the ride in even numbers, the likelihood that they'll be short by only one is a lot less. So that's another reason. There will be Express available at some point, but the Wizarding World of Harry Potter didn't even have Express for
years,
a long time. But it's standard. When they open a new attraction, they'd never have Express. Kong didn't have Express for a long time, and the Express, they had single riders. And then the single rider line, I think, became Express or something like that. So it will be coming, but it just opened. So also, Big Fire is open. I kind of wanted to like it a lot more than I did, but it's also brand new, and they haven't actually officially grand opened. So it's supposed to be sometime maybe late this week or next week. They just said it's going to be about 2 weeks. They said, okay, so probably when I'm in California, they'll do the grand opening, and I'll miss it. But it's kind of an interesting concept. It's a sort of a log cabin camping, log cabin in the woods themed restaurant. But the weird thing that I don't understand is every restaurant in City Walk has outdoor seating except for Big Fire, which is supposed to be an outdoorsy restaurant. But for some reason, they don't have any.
I'm sure there was a conscious choice behind it, whatever it was.
I'm not sure the reason. Most of the seating in all the restaurants is indoors because it's Florida and people like to complain about the heat. But there's no option to sit outside right now, and there is some space for tables outside, but there aren't really any doors. There's a door to the bar and a door the entrance to the restaurant. From what I remember, there isn't an easy access for servers to get in and out with food and whatever. So speculation is they might not have outdoor seating, but I'm not sure. But right now they don't. So, but I went there. The pricing is pretty good.
Yeah.
I was telling Brian that I had a server who reminded me of Dan Aykroyd.
Oh yeah.
And a little bit of I'm forgetting his name. Men in Black.
Oh, Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, it was a cross between. He said he always gets Tommy Lee Jones. I said it looks more like and sounds more like
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd, and it's like, oh, he said, no one's ever said that. I'm like, that seems unlikely, but okay. But I had the burger, and the pork belly. I said pork belly mac and cheese, which was actually someone recommended it, and it was actually probably some of the best mac and cheese I've ever had. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's like normally for kids, but mac and cheese always seems to be kind of just bland. Just kind of lacks flavor. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that one did not. So anything new over there?
No, nothing new.
That's kind of far away. Even though I have a computer right here. So Disney stuff's happening, I'm sure. There are the East Coast Galaxy's Edge opens next month. I forget exactly when. Still kind of wished it was in August over there. So I wouldn't have to worry whether or not I can go to Disneyland. But I don't have an annual pass to Disney anymore, and I have only 2 comp passes right now for Disney, and I'm definitely gonna use one. I might use both in California. So when it opens in here, in people say it's in Orlando. It's not actually. Disney's not actually in Orlando, but in Florida. I'm not likely going to be able to go for a while. Now, your friend, who is part of the Disney Vacation Club,
Oh yeah.
there might be at some point in a somewhat near future a Moonlight Magic at Hollywood Studios again, and we might be able to get in then. But I'm not going to be going anytime soon because
I think they did tell us that they're not planning to go to the next few ones because they've got a couple cruises lined up.
Yeah, but it might not be. It's probably not. I'm sure they're not going to have a Moonlight Magic for a while over there because it's brand new.
Yeah.
It took about a year before, at least before we got into Toy Story Land.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had one before that they didn't go to, but we'll see. That's right now, as of right now, and once I get another comp pass, that's the most likely way that I'll be able to go in and show you the edge of the galaxy.
Oh, by the way, Brandy said.
It sounds pretty far away.
Phenom Brandon said maybe your server should audition for AG10 when it had a little ghost icon.
What's that?
She said maybe your server should audition for AG10.
Oh, yeah. I said maybe he can play Elwood in our Blues Brothers show.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
But he was a little bit more Sneakers Dan Aykroyd than Blues Brothers Dan Aykroyd.
Okay.
Blues Brothers Dan Aykroyd, he's really slim.
Oh, yeah.
Not that he's fat, but he's not as slim.
Yeah.
I know for when last time he reprised his role, he had to lose some weight. But as far as Legoland, today they had their Red, White, and Boom. That obviously I didn't go to because I'm here now. I was going to go and do the interviews for the video, just to give you guys a little sneak. Legoland says that they're built for kids, and we see that when we go, that there's definitely different ways that they tailor their park to children, but at the same time, like a lot of places and things and TV shows and stuff that are made for kids, they're like, oh, fun for the whole family, which is code for you won't like it.
Not necessarily.
Most of the time. It's like, yeah. But they do a great job of balancing, making it for kids, but also fun for other people, for adults. And so I'm making a video. I did a quick search on YouTube, and like, oh, certainly they have a video on what specifically that means, that it's not just a marketing slogan. It actually has a lot of meaning behind it, and I didn't find anything. So I went there recently, I think last month, and the trip I was telling you about where I interviewed one person and not the other. And so that's going to be different ways of how they cater to children and make it so that people have their first, that was the, what's it called, inverted roller coaster where you're sitting under the track?
Oh, I'm not sure what that's called. It's not what it means on a roller coaster. Inversion means when you go fully upside down.
Well, you're hanging below the track.
I don't know what the term for that means.
Well, you're a coaster fanatic, so I figured.
I don't know what the actual term for that particular kind of seat is. It might be inverted. It might be I don't know. I'm sure they call it something, but but what are you saying? Where you're
that the I've never been on a wooden roller coaster until Legoland.
Okay.
And the other type of roller coaster I've never been on until Legoland as well, because it's inverted coaster.
Okay.
That's what it's called. Um, I've never been on that because they've all been they are all usually intense and they're too much for me. Um, so there's a great example of like a child.
Dragons was inverted.
Yeah, a child, like I would never go on that. A child might not want to go on the Incredible Hulk as their first roller coaster, but everything is sized down for them. But I can go on it, and even you, who likes the scariest things in the world, will go on it and still enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's what the videos. It's going to be next week, and I'm going to try to get the rest of it posted before I go to California, because I have a good amount of it edited. When he took me around to shoot some stuff and gave me access to the places, I shot a bunch of stuff. He's like, oh, hey, this is what we do for kids, and this is what we do for kids. And then we did an interview with somebody else, and both of us forgot some of the things that I'd shot. And it's like, but I'd like to have that in the video. So that's what I'm waiting for.
And there's definitely rides in Legoland Florida where if you're over a certain age, you can't go on the ride.
But very few.
Yeah. It's with the driving school and
the horse thing.
Yeah, the horse thing, yeah.
But the vast majority, there's no size. You can go in the boating school. You might feel a little awkward in the boat because it's kind of small, but you can go.
Yeah. Actually, I think the boating school is age restricted as well. No?
I've been on it.
And it's a shame because the horse ride looks like fun. I want to go on the horse ride, but I can't.
Well, we all know you would ride your horse to the hotel room. So that's for the most part they were making a American flag in Lego bricks, and then the fireworks display with sort of glasses that make little bricks appear, which is
it's really cool.
Kind of cool, but it's like, well, there's really not a whole lot to show because it's hard to see the fireworks through the lens of a camera, and I don't really have a very good night vision camera, so I was like, this is our only opportunity for streaming for now. So I was like, I'll do this instead. Yeah. And then I'll show you guys the mini golf when I get back, or when I go down there and finish that video. And unfortunately, the other thing that they have coming up is the Lego Movie Days. I think it's Lego Movie Days, something like that, which is a bunch of activities and things for the Lego Movie World, the new area of the park. And there is a media day for that. Unfortunately, it's next week when I'm not here. But I was able to get an invite for that, and I could have brought you as a guest. But unfortunately for you, and for me, and for them, VidCon.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. We'll maybe get another try.
Yeah, it just would have been nice to go to that.
Yeah.
And the other thing is my sister's in town.
Yeah.
When I'm not. So I really wish that they had VidCon in June like they had last year.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Other than that, there's no significant movie updates until next month. There's going to be a 20-year celebration for another movie that I knew the ending to. Surprise ending, but I still enjoyed it. So stay watching your subscriptions for when we go live. I've put it on Twitter. I didn't see any likes or comments or stuff, but sounds like there's some people blowing off illegal fireworks already. Yay! Dogs will love that.
Yeah.
But I watched a video recently on The Matrix and learned even more about it. There's even more biblical tie-ins than I thought there was. But also, did you ever watch the original Ghost in the Shell?
Yes.
Did you notice that there was a lot in The Matrix that was like the Ghost in the Shell?
Yes.
Apparently, I never watched it. One of the things that the Wachowskis were trying to do is make a live-action version of that movie. So I was watching. They showed some clips. I'm like, oh wow, okay. All these things I thought was original, they took from that movie, but they modified it. Like one of the people were laying on a examining table, and they had acupuncture pins in them, which is what was in the Matrix,
Yeah.
but updated it to have like electronic, some like wires off of it.
And I think the main villain. All right, so the thing about Ghost in the Shell is it's far in the future, and cybernetic enhancements are very common. In fact, there's only one guy. So there's a special detective division that handles certain things, and they're all cybernetically enhanced except for this one guy, and he actually kind of gets a hard time for being purely human. So they all have like cybernetic brains, which helps them do other things, and but these brains can be hacked, and the main villain is when they go into the Matrix and they have to connect. He's like connected to the internet, and he can go anywhere and do anything like all the time, and
Like Lawnmower Man.
kind of, yeah. So yeah, I can see like there's certain things from Ghost in the Shell that influenced the Matrix. Now, did you know, Dave, that Will Smith was actually originally considered for Neo?
Yeah.
And if you guys want to look it up, there's a fairly new video where Will Smith talks about like why he passed on the Matrix.
Yeah, he said he didn't think it was ready for a role of that magnitude.
Well, it's a few things. He said he originally did, what was the first?
Oh, he said he wasn't mature enough as an actor yet. He didn't believe he could handle it. Right? It might have been a different role I was thinking of, but he said something like that.
And also he did Independence Day. He did Independence Day, and then he was approached about Men in Black, and he was kind of like, well, I don't want to be known as the alien guy.
Yeah.
Like do all these alien movies, alien sci-fi movies in a row. Now, Steven Spielberg was one of the producers for Men in Black, and kind of talked him into it. He's like, don't use your brain on this, use mine. And Will was like, all right, well, the guy did do Jaws.
Yeah. And it seemed to work out for him.
And Will Smith also talked about the pitch he got from the Wachowskis was about the bullet time shot.
Mm.
But he's like, all right, here's the pitch I got. Imagine,
Let's see how long that takes.
Imagine if you're fighting and you jump, but you can stop in the middle of your jump, and then everyone around you can see you 360 degrees. Imagine that. And so he's kind of like, well, I don't know. Huh?
Me putting this on just showed up.
He ended up doing Wild Wild West in 1999.
Oh, great choice.
He said, look, I'm not proud of it, and even after it came out, I was like, hey guys, hey, look, I'm sorry, I'm working on Bad Boys 2. Don't worry about it, it's gonna be okay. But he said, look, Keanu was perfect as Neo.
Whoa.
Lawrence Fishburne was perfect as Morpheus, and he even pointed out, if I was cast as Neo, it wouldn't have been Lawrence Fishburne as Morpheus because I was the black guy, and so my other lead would have had to be something else, and they're actually looking at Val Kilmer to be Morpheus. Which it might have worked out. You don't know. Val Kilmer, it depends on the role, but Val Kilmer really does do a great job.
I just know him as Batman.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen him in anything else.
But I know him from Tombstone, and he was awesome in Tombstone.
What was on his tombstone?
It said, I'm your Daisy.
Oh, I thought it was cheese and pepperoni.
Yeah. He said, look, the Matrix worked out for the best, due to casting, and, it's a classic movie, obviously, but he could have been Neo. It just, that's not how it worked out, and yeah, and also, you never know. It depends on the pitch, it depends on the script, and, you can picture it in your head, and, sometimes it just doesn't work out as,
Yeah.
But yeah, Will Smith could have been Neo in some alternate universe, who knows?
And bringing it back to Universal, well, not really Universal, but Harry Potter, just for a moment. Do you know, you claim to be much of a Harry Potter fan. Do you know who tried to be Hagrid?
Who tried to be Hagrid?
who tried to audition for the role of Hagrid.
Give me a clue.
You don't know?
I mean, I'm picturing Hagrid in my head.
He's an actor who wanted to be Hagrid, but unfortunately, the problem is that he was a U.S. Born in. He was a U.S. citizen, and that went against J.K. Rowling's.
Yeah, British actors.
Role.
Yeah. Is it a big guy?
Not really.
Okay. Because like I keep picturing Hagrid as Robbie Coltrane, and Robbie Coltrane's a.
Well, the name is pretty similar.
So it's a Robert.
Robin.
Robin. Give me a clue.
I just did. Robin.
Robin, like, give me the first letter of the last name.
How many actors do you know whose first name is Robin?
I don't know.
Thought that would give it away.
Well, what's the first letter? You just give me the first letter.
W.
W. Robin Williams?
Yeah, I mean, I might as well just tell you the answer at that point.
Yeah.
But he couldn't because he's not British.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Robin Williams as Hagrid?
Robin Williams is known for his comedy, but he did do serious dramatic roles.
But he's not as big of a guy as Hagrid.
No. Robbie Coltrane isn't like a 7'5" guy either. Like they do scaling for they do forced perspective for all of Hagrid's scenes.
Big.
He's big, but I don't think he's that tall.
Yeah. But that's who wanted to apply but couldn't.
Fennell Brandon says maybe in that alternate universe, Keanu Reeves is now the new genie for Aladdin.
Maybe. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong genie. Never mind.
Yeah, but that is funny to think about.
Yeah. Well, maybe someone would do a deep fake with it with Will Smith in The Matrix.
They kind of did for this video. They kind of superimposed him, not heavily, but like they showed Will Smith, like when Neo was about to do that jump over the building, and he goes, "Whoa!" They showed Will in it, and they showed Will doing something else in a Matrix. Oh, they showed the spoon bending scene. And it's not real footage. It's very clever editing, but they show like a Will Smith character from another movie, like looking at the spoon bending.
That's kind of lame when they do that. I just saw a clip from the Terminator with who was it?
Sylvester Stallone, yeah, in the bar scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, that looks. I thought it was Bruce Willis, who was in the poster from Last Action Hero.
It's Sylvester Stallone.
Oh. But they did a pretty good job of making it look like he was actually in the movie.
I think the reason they did this is because Sylvester and Arnold had like this competition going on. Like Arnold did Terminator, so Sylvester did like some other big action movie, and
maybe.
Then like apparently he got tricked. Sylvester said he was doing something, and so he was going to audition for like this one movie that ended up not being that great, and so Arnold went and got it, and it was like something that like never turned out that good, and like I forget what it was, but
so he never was going to be in the movie.
I think so. Like he pranked him by doing that.
Yeah. All right. Well, so we'll be talking about that. A couple more movies coming up in the next 2 months. One in August, one in September, and our streaming days are going to change once Halloween Horror Night starts because I don't know what my availability is going to be yet. I'm going to try to go for the reserve and only work on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then get freelance work otherwise, so I can maybe catch up on some of my finances, I hope. And then, but you will be going all out for any day that is Halloween Horror Nights, except for Brick or Treat opening day and
like one other day in October. That's pretty much it. And I'm definitely hard cast, like, because they said you're in this house at cast A, and okay,
Yeah.
that's hard cast.
I don't know if you can say, but they did tell you to alter your look already. So that tells you that they were looking for something specific.
yeah, and it means I have no mask this year, which it's
Well, you haven't had one.
I've never had one, and I would like to do it once. I kind of wanted to be a Yeti last year, but it's fine because my fans get to recognize me. And look, the guy who was the last Yeti, I'm kind of friendly with him, and we see each other like
Yeah.
throughout the year. He's like, look, dude, if you can do scare acting without a mask, you are winning.
Yeah.
So
So who knows what my thing is? If I get cast, I'll be a bunch of things. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
be just one thing. So
Yeah.
I might be cast in a mask. I might not be. I'm guessing they probably put reserve in non-mask positions only because they don't have to then make a custom mask for what could be just one night filling in.
yeah.
I kind of want to do a puppeteering thing like Andrew did last year, where we didn't even get to see him.
Yeah.
Just because that gives another separation between being in the guest flow and if I'm having like a day, like all I have to do is pull some strings.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So that is our show for now. So keep watching my my Orlando for updates very soon from California. Hopefully, we'll be experiencing my first, but being it just happened today, there's a pretty good chance of aftershocks. We'll see. It won't be a day at Richterberger. So, thankfully, it's probably too late for a hurricane to come and hit it, but maybe like I'm leaving. I'm actually leaving on a flight from Orange County, Florida, and I'm going to be landing in Orange County, California. So, well, thanks for watching. Those of you who did, we only see one person. The stats aren't working on here, but hopefully if you weren't watching live, you'll watch later. But
And happy 4th of July, Brandy.